just some kid from Akron. LeBron James, since day one, has been special. That kid blossomed into one of the up-and-coming stars in the basketball world, playing at his high school, St. Vincent St. Mary's, in his hometown. The pressure was on for LeBron, as he was touted and tagged as the second coming of Michael Jordan, or Magic Johnson, the next all-time great player in the NBA. At 17, LeBron was one of the most popular athletes in the world already. And so naturally, he was selected with the first pick in the 2003 NBA draft to the Cleveland Cavaliers. At this point, it seemed there was no way LeBron could exceed expectations due to the sheer hype surrounding his name and the things that were being said about him before he even entered the league. But somehow, he did, carrying a Cavs team to the playoffs for years, winning championships, winning MVPs, making big play after big play. LeBron James lived up to expectations in every way and even exceeded what seems to be impossible to exceed. In basketball, the GOAT debate is one of the biggest topics, as everyone and their mother seems to have a take on who it is and why. The two main takes on who the greatest basketball player of all time is are Michael Jordan and LeBron James. I'd say the majority of people are leaning towards Michael Jordan. Now, I'm not sure if we will ever truly know the answer to the great debate, and I don't know if I can definitively say either one is the greatest player of all time either. But I do believe that, for many, LeBron James is not given the credit he deserves in this debate. So that's why, in this video, I'm going to be talking about LeBron James's case as the greatest basketball player of all time. The first thing I like to do in a debate like this is look at both sides of the argument. And because I'm going to be giving you guys LeBron's side of things, let's talk about the Jordan side of things first. What would someone who considers Michael Jordan the greatest player of all time say? Well, I think the main things are as follows. Michael Jordan is more accomplished than LeBron James. 6 rings as opposed to 4, undefeated in the finals, more MVPs. Michael Jordan, even though he played a shorter amount of time, was still more accomplished than LeBron James over his entire career. Michael Jordan was the greatest scorer of all time. Michael Jordan had a killer instinct that LeBron James just doesn't have. Michael Jordan was a better defender than LeBron James. And I'm not here to deny any of these things. These are all, for the most part, true. Going 6-0 in the finals is better than going 4-7. Michael Jordan is likely the greatest scorer of the basketball of all time. Michael Jordan did have a killer instinct. And Michael Jordan was one of the best defenders in the NBA. Maybe even better than LeBron James. None of these things are incorrect when talking about Michael Jordan. But what if I told you that when comparing the two players, those reasons may not be as strong as it appears at face value? The first thing we're going to do is look at their two games. How does LeBron James compare to Michael Jordan as a player? And as generally as we can put it, I would say the consensus when comparing these players is that Michael Jordan is a better scorer and defender, while LeBron James is a better playmaker and a rebounder than Jordan. Which I can't really say I disagree with. I do believe that as a pure scorer of the basketball, Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James. And in terms of perimeter defense, Jordan likely is better as well. But is this the end-all be-all? How much of a detriment is this to LeBron's argument as the GOAT? Well, I don't believe it's as much as it seems. In terms of scoring, yes, Michael Jordan may be the greatest scorer of all time, better than LeBron James. But I have two things to say. The first being that LeBron James often doesn't get enough credit in the discussion of the greatest scorers of all time. There may have never been a more dominant player driving to the basket than LeBron James. And to go along with that, he has developed a great bag of shots as well, especially later in his career. LeBron, although maybe not quite Jordan, is one of the greatest scorers of the basketball in NBA history. And the difference for me is something we already talked about. And that's that although the scoring leans in Jordan's favor, it becomes a different story when we talk about overall offensive impact. Because LeBron James is not only one of the greatest scorers of all time, he's one of the best passers and playmakers the league has ever seen to go along with it. Every time he is on the court, LeBron not only is a threat to score, but he is also a threat to put his teammates in a position to score at all times. Not only is LeBron a great individual offensive player, he is a great team offensive player. Despite the offensive firepower of Michael Jordan, over the course of their careers, LeBron James accounts for more points per game than Michael Jordan did. And over the course of his career, not only has LeBron James scored more points than Michael Jordan, but he has also accounted for 11,000 more points from assists on the offensive end. LeBron James is the ultimate offensive piece. He's not just a scorer of the basketball. He is a special passer of the basketball as well. And because of this, LeBron's impact offensively, to me, is equal to, if not greater than Michael Jordan's. Then, on the defensive side of things, people will bring up Michael Jordan as one of the greatest defenders in the history of basketball. And I agree. Michael Jordan was one of the greatest defenders ever. His length, his strength, his vertical, and agility all made him a lockdown defender and one of the best in the league for years. But I think we once again cannot discount LeBron here either. LeBron James, for years, was one of the best defenders in the NBA as well. And when we compare the two, yes, Michael Jordan is a better perimeter defender, but LeBron James is a better defender on the interior. And, due to his size, he can guard essentially any player on the court at any time, which value cannot be understated. Not to mention LeBron's presence as a leader on the defense, being able to direct people and call out the shots on the defensive end is something LeBron is great at. Once again, value on defense that goes beyond the stat sheet. Although Jordan may slightly edge out LeBron as an overall defender, things are a lot closer than you may believe. So when we look at it, LeBron's impact on an offense is greater than what Michael Jordan can bring to the table as a whole. And his defensive game isn't as far behind Michael as so many have come to believe. Now, that is purely looking into the games of the two players. How do they play? What's their style? What are they good at? What are they not good at? But as we all know, the greatest of all time debate does not even come close to stopping just there. And for most people, this right here is where it stops. 6-0 versus 4-7. 5 MVPs versus 4. The flawless finals record of Michael Jordan as opposed to the tainted record of LeBron James. That Jordan is more accomplished than LeBron, even playing 4 less seasons. But how much truth is there to this? Is this truly the end-all be-all? How much does winning a ring matter in an individual's debate? How much does winning the MVP award truly matter? In relation to the finals records, I have 3 big points to make. The first being, winning a championship in the NBA goes far beyond one player. Yes, LeBron and Jordan are the most impactful and important pieces on their teams. But even they can't just win it with anybody. Winning a championship takes a team effort, everyone playing their role at a high level. Jordan was surrounded all throughout his career with situations just like this, situations built to win a championship, while this has not often been the case for LeBron James. We can't expect a player to win a championship when their surroundings are not built to win one. Then the second thing is that we have to consider the competition that they are playing in the finals. Because LeBron, in 4 straight finals appearances, had to play against the greatest team in NBA history, with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. The rest of LeBron's team was simply completely outmatched in several of these final series. Something that we cannot say about those teams that Michael Jordan won the finals with. They were never outmatched everywhere else on the court outside of Michael Jordan, like the Cavaliers were with LeBron James. So is it really fair to be criticizing LeBron for a loss when he really had no chance in the first place? I don't think so. Then the third point is, why are we penalizing LeBron for making it to the finals? Is it better to lose in the first round? The second round? Would it have been better if LeBron just made the finals 4 times and never lost, but came up short in the playoffs those 7 other years? That's ridiculous to say. Michael Jordan didn't make the finals in 9 of the years in his career. LeBron only didn't make it in 7 of them. Why are we punishing him for making it all the way through? It doesn't make any sense to me. So, the finals argument is not one that I look at as valid in the GOAT debate. This is a player versus player debate, not a team versus team one. And in regards to the MVPs and individual accomplishments, are we really going to sit here and act like LeBron James shouldn't have won the MVP for about 13 years in a row? Because it's a media award. It's about the guy who broke onto the scene. It's about the story. It's not about LeBron James being the best player on the planet for the 12th straight year. That's not what it's about. So using these voted for narrative-driven numbers like MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, really, I just can't get behind it. The GOAT debate is as complex as a topic as there is in basketball. What exactly makes someone the greatest player of all time? Is it who was the best at their peak? Is it who racks up the most stats over time? Well, to me, the greatest player of all time is a mix of both. How great are you, and for how long are you great? If I have the number 1 pick in an NBA redraft, who am I taking? And this is where LeBron James comes in. We can argue all day about who the true best player at their peak was. Is it LeBron or is it Jordan? Who could carry what team? But in this argument, regardless of your side, I think most of us come to the conclusion that it is very, very close. And this is where LeBron James separates himself from Michael Jordan. The longevity of LeBron James is magical. In his 19th season, he leads the NBA in scoring with over 30 points a game. LeBron James is putting up numbers late in his career that we have never, ever seen before, and defying what it means to age in the NBA. Even if Michael Jordan in his prime years was better than LeBron James, it is reasonable to say that 5 to 6 extra years of something almost as good in LeBron can be enough to surpass Michael Jordan. And as LeBron continues in his late 30s, playing at still some of the highest levels in the league, the question continues to be asked. At what point does the sheer volume of LeBron's greatness outweigh that of Michael Jordan? Because to me, it might have already happened. Although we may never know the true answer to the GOAT debate due to its complexities and intangible factors, we can come to make our best guess. As we have watched LeBron James turn into one of the most iconic sports players of all time, he has become the epitome of greatness. And as we compare the careers of LeBron James and Michael Jordan and come to recognize their true impact on the game, we often find ourselves splitting hairs. However, it is reasonable to say, as we watch LeBron James continue to dominate the NBA in his 19th season, we have gotten to the point where LeBron's greatness has outshined and outlasted that of Michael Jordan. And along this journey, that kid from Akron has become the greatest basketball player of all time.